Sorry, everybody. We just lost the screen or the stream. Wasn't me, I promise. It's like a ticking time bomb. Okay, we're just waiting for Bart to log in and then we can kick off. I'd love to hear from everybody. What is a goal that you set at the beginning of 2023 that you have already achieved? So what is a goal that you set at the beginning of 2023 that you've already achieved? Paid off my debt with the extra money from sales confidence. Yes, Vitali. Close an enterprise deal in Q1, January to March. Yes. I love that. Well done. God, they must be paying you well at this company. Well, for what you do anyway. Okay, I am being assured that Bart is going to dial in. So just give me some patience and we will get him on shortly. Sorry about this, people. If we get to 1:15, we're just going to knock this one on the head, and I send all my apologies. I mean, it's a really good topic as well around the Jolt Effect. So, and if you're coming tonight, Bart is actually speaking. Hi, everybody. 5 more minutes. Appreciate your patience. It's not actually happened before, so I guess we've got to have one of these occasions. I know it's disappointing because everybody looks forward to these sessions, and it still might happen. We're just going to give it 5 more minutes though, and then we'll cut it off. Oh, here we go. Matt's keeping us busy for 5 minutes. If for a topic of conversation, James Ski, if you had to pick 3 of the most important traits that make a great salesperson, what would they be and why? 1, curiosity. You have to be great at asking questions, but you have to be genuine curious about understanding people's problems and how you can solve them. 2, persistence, resilience, and the follow-up. That's 3, but I think they all mean the same thing. You've got to be persistent in the follow-up, continuously always need and want to follow up. And 3, you've got to have a vision for yourself. You've got to believe that there's a greater purpose for what you're doing in sales. What are yours, Matt? What are yours, Andrew? What are yours, Vitaly? What are yours, Natalie? Bart, is that you?
Hey, James. Hi.
Hi. Listen, apologies. It's nothing to do with you. Our team put it in the wrong time, but had it in the right time in the calendar. So you were notified at a wrong time. Are you still comfortable doing it now, or would you like to, set up another time in the future, whenever that might be, and we can start obviously on time?
Whatever you prefer. I'm here. I don't know. My camera isn't working. I think it's just a bit. Where is it? My camera? Why isn't? Oh wait, is it? There I am. Okay. So I'm in a lobby of a hotel, close to the venue for this evening. I had hoped to be in my room, but I literally just arrived.
Okay. Well, you look great. You sound great. Why don't we just go for it and do it in 30 minutes?
Yeah, let's go for it. Yeah.
Okay. Can I ask? Are you screen sharing any slides, or are you just hitting the talking button?
I'll use some slides. Yeah.
Okay. Do you just want to test that out quickly?
Yeah.
While I'm introducing you.
Yeah.
So this is actually very special, guys. Not many of you will be familiar with the company that Bart represents, but they are part of a company called Winning by Design. And Winning by Design is the leading SaaS go-to-market advisory firm on the planet. Trust me when I tell you, they provide the most insightful, thoughtful, efficient information that helps you build and grow your go-to-market. Also, this is very, very expensive stuff that we're getting a taster of today. And I highly encourage you to go and buy all their books on Amazon and connect with them to learn more, because they're a fantastic company of experts. And Bart is one of their leaders as a revenue architect. How's that, Bart?
Perfect, James.
Okay, I'll hand it over to you. I'm in the background if you need me.
All right, thank you. So, will I see the audience, or is it just the audience is there? Or are you recording?
The audience is there. We are recording. There's about 10 people on, but we won't have interaction other than if you ask people to comment.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for taking the time to join us for this masterclass. It's a class, maybe not a masterclass. It's I'll do an introduction around, maybe very briefly who Winning by Design is, but James already did that very eloquently. I just arrived here in London for another event that James is organizing this evening. But today we're going to talk about how to help overcome customer indecision. And to take you through that topic, and if there's some background noise, I'm sorry, but like I said, I'm in a hotel room or a hotel lobby even. And we use some slides. We have limited time, so I'm going to rush through it, but you can maybe put questions in the chat so James can ask me those questions at the end or during the session. I'm happy to be interrupted as long as we stay on time. That's very important. So today, I guess a lot of leaders in sales are looking for growth, productivity improvement for their sales force, and also finding new customers.
And, sorry to interrupt. We can't see your slides at the moment if you're sharing slides.
Okay. I am sharing, I think.
But your sound is perfect. Your sound is perfect.
Let me share it again. Let's see.
Yeah. And now choose your, and you just make it full screen. Yeah. Now we're good. Win rate wins over opportunities.
Awesome. All right. Excellent. Thanks, James. So we're, this is win rate, win ratio, what the difference is. What we're looking at today in the market, or what we're looking at in the past, pre-COVID and also during COVID, in B2B SaaS at least, were win rates in enterprise about 1 out of 3, and in SMB maybe 1 out of 5, or in SMB 1 out of 5. And those other 2 deals in enterprise or other 4 in SMB were lost, to these topics. You could lose to a competitor. It happens to the best of us. You could lose to, so a competitor basically is the budget spent with somebody who has a similar offering as you have. But there's also that the budget is spent on a substitute. So not a competitor, but a different way of resolving the similar challenge the customer is trying to resolve. And last but not least, we have the status quo. So you can also lose a deal to a status quo. So while you've gone through the whole sales cycle, you've done your discovery, you've spoken with the customer, multiple stakeholders, built out a proposal, and it seems to be converging, and it seems that your offer is going to address the challenge the customer is hoping to resolve. And they haven't decided for a competitor. They haven't decided to resolve the challenge in a different way, but they're just sticking with the status quo, which in itself, also there was nothing wrong with that very often, other than that you might have lost a deal. But what we see more and more in the market today, and I can share these slides with you, James, later, so you can share them with your audience, is that the status quo is basically broken up into 2 things. We see that currently the market is changing. Win rates are going down, maybe 1 in 5 in enterprise, 1 in 8, and losing more and more to customer indecision. And customer indecision is quite a different beast. If they stay with the status quo, that's one thing. But if they're not deciding, why are they not deciding, and how can we help the customer make a decision? Now, our friend Matt Dixon, who has written the book The Challenger Sale, and next to reading the books that we've published around optimizing B2B SaaS motions and sales as a science, The Challenger Sale is really an excellent read for you. But the Jolt Effect as well. So Matt's really a great partner of ours, and we work together with him a lot. So he's basically reviewed 2.5 million sales calls. Poor guy. But luckily, we have machine learning and AI to help identify where to look at. But the result of reviewing all those calls is that you can see that quite a lot of opportunities that people are working on are influenced by indecision, which also is, not in itself strange, but that you can see the more indecision there is, the lower the win rate becomes. And what we can also see after reviewing those 2.5 million calls is that there are some outliers, some individuals who can really excel at helping customers overcome that indecision. And what do they do, and how do they do that? So there are 3 types of indecision. Will I make the right choice? Have I done enough homework? Or will I get the results I paid for? And you can, how we as salespeople have been skilled up and trained that when customers basically are faced with indecision, or they might go with a competitor, we respond with FUD: fear, uncertainty, doubt. If you don't do this opportunity now, you might lose out on an ROI in your next quarter. If you don't do it now, your future is uncertain because we might not have the availability to deploy the solution in time. So it's really driven around helping the customer feel some kind of fear of missing out. And what we've come to realize is that actually since the geopolitical and economic situation in the world has changed, it's so volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous, that the customers are so afraid to make a wrong decision. They better make no decision, because that doesn't reflect that bad on them, than making the wrong decision. So responding to your customer's indecision with FUD is really not helping them make a decision. So realizing that they are afraid to mess up FOMO is different than FOMO. So a loss due to inaction is much less worse than a loss due to an action. So the acronym JOLT, together with Matt, we have this acronym, which is easy to remember for you all. So to resolve this indecision, we recommend that you ask your prospective customer or prospective project decision maker a closed question about his indecision. Do I sense that you're not certain in what solution to go for? Is it? Do you find it difficult to make a choice between option A or option B? And by doing that, you can really open up the discussion again and see how you together can resolve the client getting what he wants for without having a fear of messing up. Then also, you as an experienced salesperson have had, very often you should realize that the situation you're in is quite common for you. You're selling this solution or offering every other day or every other month, but your client only makes the decision only once in a while. So you can offer the client guidance. If I were you in your situation, and what I see other clients doing often as well, is they do this. So help them make a decision. Also, limit the exploration. Customers today are looking at Google, ChatGPT, Bing, Gartner, IDC reports, everything, and everywhere. There's a lot of information, and such an information overflow. Ask them, to don't look at everything. Just look at this report or at this data to help you make your decision. And then last but not least, take risk off the table. So try and make the commitment the customer has to make smaller. So de-risking the opportunity, or so that they have more impact earlier. They can also sell it easier internally. There is the risk of messing up is much smaller because it's a smaller project, and we in sales have always been taught, to do as much as the customer wants to do, but try and pull the customer back. You don't need all. Let's just start off small and resolve a part of your challenge, make that really ready, available to all, and then expand as we go along. And that's the Jolt effect. So judge, offer guidance, limit or exploration, and take risk off the table is really a good way to help your customers with their indecision. So FUD can work if they're thinking about a competitor or about a different way of resolving the solution. But if they're coming to a stage where they are undecided because there's just too much choice, too much information, too much uncertainty, too much volatility, try and use the JOLT acronym. So next to your current sales methodologies, if you're using MEDDIC or Spiced or any other sales methodology, this can really be an added playbook to your another notch or tool in your tool set to help your customers buy. Because I think nobody likes to be sold to, but everybody loves to buy. And our role as salespeople is to really help our customers make the right decisions so that they can be successful and we can be successful. So that's very quickly, because I've basically done this in 15 minutes, James. my deck for today. So I'm ready for some challenging questions from you all. Are you there, James? You're on mute, I believe.
Hello. That was spot on and very, very condensed and articulate. So let's get some questions going in, team. Andrew, Matt, I know you'll have some questions. Vitaly, let's ask some questions. So I didn't appreciate that the way that this is being used is alongside a traditional methodology like Medic, like Spice. So the sales team will still apply that methodology, but when they're interacting with the buyer, they're starting to apply the Jolt element of this. Is that kind of the positioning?
No, I think, so when a deal is converging and you're helping them in their buying process using your sales methodology that you're comfortable with and the skill sets that you're used to using, and the customer is at a certain stage thinking of going to a competitive solution or resolving the challenge they are facing in a different way than with your solution, so spending the money, their budget, to resolve the challenge they want to resolve, I think your current playbook, if it has worked in the past, will continue to work. What we see happening is that when customers, what's happening more and more, so that customers aren't not only going to resolve their challenge with a competitor solution, or so their budget is still being spent in somewhere with you or somebody else or in a different way, but more and more people are just sticking with their status quo, and a small part of them are sticking with status quo, but a bigger part, much bigger part today than in the past, are just undecided. They can't make a decision because they have this FOMO. They are afraid of messing up. If I make the wrong decision, I might lose my job, and then I won't find a new one because we're in a recessionary times or inflationary times. I might make the wrong decision because there's a new technology coming up, and people will say, "Hey, you made the decision. Now you have to resolve it." So I think that fear of messing up is a new phenomenon in the VUCA world, and we need to help our customers with their indecision, and that often means looking at the land and expand motion, landing smaller than you were first intending to, helping the customer understand that they're undecided, and that they're undecided maybe because they're looking at too many variables than they need to, and also that they can de-risk the whole engagement by downsizing it to make a small commitment and show impact, so that the chance of messing up is much smaller, and then following through with more buy-in from the whole organization than before. So that's, I think, how I see it as an added toolbox in this changed world. That's
very
excellent.
helpful. Very helpful. We've got a question from Matt here that says, would you say that the idea of Jolt is a coping strategy when you spot indecision, or do you believe that you can use the concept to almost preempt indecision and deal with it before it becomes a problem? That's a good question. I like that question.
That is a great question, Matt. Indeed. Excellent. So I guess, is it a coping strategy? I think I don't think it's a coping strategy. I think it's a strategy to help overcome indecision. And if you sense that a customer is challenged with making a decision, it's, if you apply your FUD playbook, fear, uncertainty, doubt, that won't resolve his indecision. It will most probably, if it's based on FOMO, it'll only get worse. So he'll get more undecided. So you need to just think before you apply your standard playbooks in where this customer is, and to find out where they are at, it's always good to ask a closed question, because if you ask an open question, they might find, they might talk around it because they don't want to feel insecure or seem insecure. So asking a closed question that is sensitive to their situation, is it at this moment difficult to make a decision between all the options that you have? And if there's a yes, then then you can start helping the client overcome it by offering your recommendation. And of course, helping him limit what he should look at and taking risk off the table. Nicole.
I like that. Nicole, how do you deal with indecision when not speaking to decision makers or people in the company who would know the answer? For example, they are a developer and testing out one particular use case, but they don't know the budget, for example.
Yeah. Well, that's also an excellent question. So ideally, in a sales cycle, there are many people that are involved in making a decision. So there are champions, there are users, there are gatekeepers, but at the end, there is maybe a group decision. At least where I'm from in the Netherlands, it's often a group decision. But maybe in the United States, for example, it's often one decision-making unit that decides. So if you're speaking to a user and they are undecided in what they want, I would say the same methodology applies. What are they undecided about, and how come they're undecided? Can't they see the wood through the trees? Try and identify, instead of a whole rack of wine in a wine store. I'm having a party. Should I choose white or red? If you ask the client a question, what type of wine do you like, but you're not a wine drinker, you're still undecided. You say, okay, what type of, for your party, I would say I would do 70% white and 30% red. And of the whites, I would recommend those two, and of the reds, those two. And if your audience, if I would give a party, this one is more easily accessible than the other. So giving a recommendation, a personal recommendation. So also in your case, Nicole, I think it can also apply to users. And in any case, in any personal situation, I think if you judge indecisiveness, it's always good to speak it out and not offer people the opportunity to have an evasive question by asking a closed question.
Great response. Thanks for sharing, Bart. So Andrew, this is going to be our last question, because a lot of the leaders that are on this call will be able to see Bart speak this evening at the Connaught Room. So we look forward to that. Andrew's asking, we see a lot of this. For example, construction companies are very nervous about changing the way they manage their sites. We tend to suggest a proof of concept project if we see the indecision. I assume this is a very basic example. Proof of concept.
I think it's an excellent example, Nido. A proof of concept is always great to prove the impact you can deliver without having to deploy a massive solution across a very traditional organization, maybe. So proof of concept is an excellent way to de-risk something and to take away the fear of messing up, because it's a proof of concept. So everybody agrees it's a proof of concept. So you really can't mess up there.
Amazing. Bart, thank you very much for stepping in when you did. Apologies again, that's on me that we didn't manage the communication thoroughly enough, but you did a great job. You nailed the presentation, and we've got the double bonus of having you in person tonight. So I'll buy you a drink and make up for it and shake your hand in person. But thanks very much for.
I look forward to it. And thank you. Yeah, thank you for organizing, and thank you everyone for taking the time and having the patience to listen to. And go to our website, like James said, winningbydesign.com, where you can see all our content. And we have all our content is basically open source, so you can consume it as you please. Any help you need, you can email me, Bart at winningbydesign.com, and I'm happy to help.
Amazing. See you later, Bart.
Thank you. Catch you later. Cheers.
Bye-bye. Cheers all. Bye. See you later. Bye-bye.